welcome to the Deal Final Corner. So this is your weekly property talk show brought to you by Property Filter, hosted by myself, Guillaume Black, your favorite Frenchman, CEO and co-founder at Property Filter. It's the UK's highest rated platform to find deals. And we're on a mission to empower our property investor and deal sourcer members to find another 1,000 deals this year, thanks to the Property Filter blueprint. And the purpose really with this Deal Final Corners is to give you more and the best of the available resources by inviting expert guests. We'll share with you the latest and most current strategies, tactics, and secrets about what actually works right now in terms of finding and making deals and the reality of systemizing and running a high-performance business in property. So it really is my pleasure to introduce to you today to my very good friend, Mr. Phil Bygrave. And I won't spoil too much of the introduction. I'll let him seed all of this part of the conversation. And today we'll cover how you can create 3 income stream of income with single HMOs, how Phil looks at HMOs, and really how he's find, in excess of 30 deals in the last 18 months with Property Filter. So Phil, yeah, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Do you want to tell us a bit more where you're based, what you do, type of deals?
Firstly, am I top spot now? Have I? It's 30 top spot on Property Filter, the Property Filter League. Thanks very much.
On the Property Filter League, there's a guy who did 31 deals.
No, come on.
Yeah,
no, okay.
But you're
That's
not
so annoying. All right, value-wise, surely.
Value-wise, I'm sure there's more
right.
to it. So
yeah, thanks for having me, Guillaume. So I've known Guillaume a number of years. Just to introduce myself very briefly, my background isn't necessarily property. I did 17 to 18 years in the recruitment space. I worked for international manpower services companies. If anybody works in the oil and gas space or energy space, you'll probably know them. Air Energy, Air Swift, and Spencer Ogden are the companies I worked for. So very much a sales environment. Started as a salesperson, finished as C-suite. And then it sounds sexy, but it's time consuming, and property was my get out of the rat race jail way to try and move forward. So I now I don't know whether my camera is reversed, so it would be one of these fingers, this one, Property Portfolio Building, which is a developer. And I also have the business underneath it, which is Invest Multi-Let Property Management, which is a lettings business. And we offer a turnkey solution to our clients, which is a source, build and manage service, a full turnkey service. So that is what we do. I'm also a pin host for the pin fans in the room. So I run the only pin to go to, which is Manchester North. So if you've not been, you're more than welcome. You can use my surname if you've never been to a pin as your first code. And yeah, I think that'll they're not really to hear about me though, are they? I want to know how to do great deals.
Right? Great deals.
Let's crack on.
So all of this, Phil, just to clarify, you do these up North Manchester way. Is that
That's
right?
right. Yeah. So I'm Greater Manchester based. Most of our deals are on the northern Manchester belt, which is a mid-yield property price. So mid-cap property price and mid-yield returning price, which is Greater Manchester is I hate to say the people who live in Manchester and think they're in the north. We're in the centre of the country. Right, so it's northwest England, but we are bang in the centre of the country, and we have a really wonderful sort of like coming together of a great city, an expanding city, large northern town. So Greater Manchester is not just Manchester, and it's also Salford, it's Oldham, it's Stockport, it's Bury, it's lots and lots of northern towns. Really rising population and not enough housing. So for property investment, it's a good area. You got good yields, good and reasonably middle-ish house prices.
So I should have said it's not your first time on the Deal Final Corner. You came last summer, a year ago, last August.
Yeah, have you run out of people?
No. I think I want to put more incentive in this new format and then having conversation with you more than having a speaker type thing. So, and I think what you've done in the last year has been remarkable. So
thanks.
When did you sort of start with Property Filter?
It was just post-launch, right? So we knew each other before you launched. So we were on Property Entrepreneur together, which was a 12-month program.
So you did what education did you? Did you like Simon's Masterminds? All right. I
did Mastermind. That's right. Yeah. So are there some masterminders in the room?
I
can see Manyando's here. Hello, Manyando.
It would be
the Mastermind is also one of our clients, so he's going to get a bit of a promo in a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. And so I think it was 18 months ago. So it would be end of not last year but the previous year when you sort of started. And what was the sort of situation with you, like where were you, like property wise and things like that? What were you doing?
Yeah, so I'd just been through quite a hellish time. So obviously people are people. I would been running a business that was subjected to supplier fraud, which caused that individual company to fold. So I'd been through a pain period of about, it'd been going on from about, it was all 2021, so 2020 to 2022. So it'd been going on for about 6, 7 months. We already had the business, but we'd actually initially set up our company just to do flips for ourselves. And so there's myself, my business partner, Tim, and we decided that actually we can do what we're doing in our HMO world for other people, because we were finding really great HMO deals and we had no money. How do you make money from great HMO deals if you've got no money? Sell it to someone else. Obviously, my background was from the manpower services space and sales, so I understood the sort of process. The best way to deliver something was to gain certainty from clients, but also we wanted to outsource the things that we weren't good at. I'm terrible at admin. Looking through Rightmove and looking through Zoopla and all the other on the markets and whatever else there is, auction sites, it just all blends into one. And I'd end up just like looking at 2 or 3 auction sites, looking at the same property on one auction site and looking at another auction site or another like Rightmove, and then I'd look at it again on Zoopla just to see. I don't know what had changed. I don't know what I was doing that. I don't know what I was doing that, but I'm sure we've all been
what
there.
was the sort of decision process? Because I think you were aware because we knew each other, but
Yeah.
then I remember you give me a ring, and so what was the decision process around going and exploring Property Filter?
Well, we needed something to cut us down from a time perspective. So the administrative burden on the business was going to be too large. And when we forecasted how the best amount of money that we can make on each deal, but also provide a great service for clients, it was a case of, well, actually, we actually need to do quite a few deals to make this into a business. And therefore, we need to find deals quicker than we're doing it now. So it was, you were doing this service. We'd looked at a couple of others. I'd done some lettering campaigns. I'd used Nimbus Maps, which was very complex. And I don't like complex. I just like simple. So your service was absolutely spot on.
Awesome. So when you sort of first started playing with it, how was the experience, and the
Yeah,
learning
it was, I think it's fair. It was clunky, right? At the start, it was a little bit clunky, but it did the job. It really brought in Rightmove and Zoopla and the main ones into one space. And over time, you've obviously spent a lot of time getting these things out. There was no strategies that you could just click a button, right? So
Yeah, you need to know what you're looking for.
we were spending time setting up all our lead generators specifically, and now you've got those blueprints ready to go for people, which is and they are fantastic. Those blueprints, I have to say, you've really given them some thought and got some expertise. Yeah. And got some experts to advise on that, which really matters. And then it was just, let's see what we can do. And I think we're one of the founding members, right? So we're one of your first, whatever it was, 100. So, but we found a deal 2 weeks in. Yeah. So at that point, it was, no, I'm not doing anything else. And we literally do nothing else. And obviously, we had conversations along the time, like not all the auction sites were pulling through. There was some, there's some stuff that you had to go away and actually do some. I'm going to just classify it as tech stuff, right? I don't want to like devalue what you do, but
there's lots to be built.
You had to do some tech stuff to make the site more punchy than it was. But I mean, we found a deal within the first 2 weeks. So
you find your first deal during the trial period, and then you were sort of sold, and you committed to do a full year of it, and then now you've been.
So we'd agreed our first client, independent from us, and then we'd found the first deal at the same time.
Awesome. So fast forward to now. So that was first deal. And now you've agreed 30. So how does 30, that? What does that? How does that look like?
It looks like I'm only like 28 years old, and I'm not really this old, and I'm all stressed out. No, it's been a really, really wonderful time. We've got some really super clients. I know there's 1 or 2 I've seen actually just popping up because the thing in front of me, I don't know why it's doing a carousel. So there's a couple on the call, so I'm going to watch what I say. But we've been very, very fortunate to pick up some really super clients, and over that timeline, we are 100% successful on delivering not only the sourcing requirement but the project, the revaluation, and because we are doing BRRR stuff, and every single one of our clients is now repeat.
So others, can you walk us through, show us some of these deals you've done?
Yeah, so I'll just run through a couple of case studies. Is that good?
Yeah. I think people want to see the real stuff, You see, it's interesting. You've got both sides, You got you, in some ways, the sourcers, project manager, lettings manager.
We started with me and Tim. So we started with us, and now we've systemized our business through true property entrepreneur blueprint style. So now, like where I was once upon a time sitting here, and I don't know whether Nick's on the call. She said she might nip on, and then I said, well, there might be quite a few people. She said, oh, well, I'm not doing that then. So, so literally every part of our business now has somebody running that process. I no longer do the front end property filter stuff, as an example. Our blueprint is so systemized at what we want to go and see that we have somebody just working on property filter full time.
It'd be good to ask Nick how long she actually spends on it. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, she's contracted to no more than I think 6 hours a week, something like that.
Okay.
So
So
Nick is also Mrs. Phil, so it's a family affair.
Mrs. Bygrave spends
Yeah,
less than an hour a week on property filter, feeding all your pipeline of the good
yeah,
viewings
that's
to go
it.
and look at. Yeah.
So these are our two brands. You might see them about, and if you've ever been unfortunate enough to add me on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen lots of these things. We have a podcast coming out on the 9th of August, and we have a new sponsor. You might see on the bottom right. So it's actually sponsored by my good friend Guillaume and the team at Property Filter. So thank you very much. We have 12 episodes pre-recorded, and it's about real people doing real things. So we've got interviews with real people who are on the road to financial freedom through property, and then we intersperse that with some technical stuff. So we do one interview, one technical how to help. So do look out for that 9th of August, all platforms. And this is, do you remember this?
Oh fuck yeah! This
Yeah,
is where it
yeah.
all
So
started, isn't it?
this is me on the right, and this is Guillaume on the left.
That was the
So
hardest thing we ever did.
that is still the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we worked with two wonderful charities through the property entrepreneur scheme too, and I was head of fundraising, and you were head of
Head of
ops.
ops.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever that
So
meant.
yeah, that was a hell of a journey. Case study one. So case study one is still in build. So I'm only going to talk about the very, very front end of this particular product. There's two numbers on here I really want you to look at. And the first one is the asking price on Property Filter. And then the other one is the price paid, which is on line 4 on the right.
So what do I always say, guys? Ignore the asking price.
Yeah. So we paid £250,000 for this property. It was an existing 6-bed HMO hellhole. That's what I would describe it as. It had not been looked after. It had not been maintained. It's got a little bit of grounds. It's got car parking spaces for up to like 10 vehicles. And the internal floor space, as you can see at the bottom of the property filter screen, 196 square meters. So we've got 35 square meters separate kitchen and communal, and we've got 10 double ensuite rooms that have been redesigned into there. So this property had been on the market and had sold and fell out. And then, although Property Filter doesn't say that now, I don't know how that's changed. It must be something that the agents changed on their side. But it sold and fell out and came back to market. It sold at £280,000, and the agent I know, because we know the agents around our markets now. They know who we are. We know who they are. We spent a long time speaking to agents and building those relationships.
So can you explain a bit about building relationships? So is it like you are the go-to people when something falls through now, because you've always been proactive, calling them when something falls through. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And something, yeah. So when something falls through, we call them, and they think it's magic, right? They think we've got some kind of magic powers. They think we just sit at the desk all day and just monitor their website, but really what they've done is they've put it back on the market for sale and
popped it on Property Filter.
So that was initially, and now even before they come on to Property Filter. So Property Filter is still lying to you. They ring us and see if we were willing to buy it. So there's a number of deals that we've now done that don't show up as come back on the market, even though the price has changed, paid for, and it has actually come back to market because we've taken over the purchase process.
That's right. So when the sales fall through, the agents will not want to put it back on the market because it makes them look quite bad. So they'll call those savvy investors, people who made it to their little black book, and they'll test it with you. They'll test it with a few people, and then if they have no luck with this first port of call, investors, they'll put it back on the market. So the aim of the game is to portray and position yourself as this expert, and then use exactly as you said it, the way you made it to the little black books there is you were always on it, always calling them when something's fallen through, and you build yourself this reputation of being the problem solver in your area.
Yeah, that's it. And I went to see them. I went into the office before the viewing, just to meet the team. And then just, once we did the deal, I mean, they weren't happy with the offer that we were offering. But ultimately we gave an explanation as to why we were offering that. We actually originally agreed 260 on the property, but we paid 250. And the reason for that, there was a small mistake in what was being offered to what was being bought, and it was just a shared access road that we thought we would be buying the road, and then it wasn't. It was shared access, so we agreed an additional 10K discount at the last minute, and yeah, it's a good deal.
From the time this fell through, Phil, how long did it? How long after it came back on the market did you agree a deal at 260? Let's say
Same day.
same day. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the back and reduced space on Property Filter is your same day activity box.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're not acting in that way, then you're not using Property Filter properly. So yeah, I mean, it was literally, it came back on the market. I rang the agent. I'll see you there at 12 o'clock. Deal done before the close of play.
Yeah, nice.
So obviously follow up, really, really important. This was in our follow-up folder. We review our follow-up folder on a daily basis for any changes, and obviously it comes up and shows us if anything's changed. Great agent relationship. We'd already bought a property from them, which helped obviously because they know who we are. We know we're certain. This was for a client, and so it's not ours, sadly, even though it's a beautiful building. I'd love to have kept it myself. So full bridging and development finance, and we've had the front end valuation in at 695 for a gross development value. So we're going to have spent not including fees. So I've left fees out of this. So because there's some people who will need to use full bridging development, some people who won't. So 250 paid and 257 built. That's what you would have to pay plus your stamp duty if you had bought this and you were using cash. It would probably have been a bit around 42, 43K in finance fees if you did it the same way. But 46 to 72% ROI, and we always give a range because there's the fixed costs and then there's flexible costs. So where you see me write V&M, that's my acronym for voids and maintenance. So we do allow for voids and maintenance in our appraisals. Not everybody does, but we do. So the lower end is always if you're at maximum voids, which we put in at 8%, and maximum maintenance at 6%, which in year one it shouldn't be because you're under warranty. So that's currently in the build process. And if you ever come on one of our discovery days, you can come and see that project and see what we're doing on that. So that's a big one. So full planning application. It was already a 6-bed HMO, and this is a really good tip. If it's already a HMO and you're just adding occupants, you'll notice that I put in on the third line, no objections from the community, none at all. Which is if anyone's done a planning application for HMOs is unusual.
Headache.
But the reason being is the councillors, a lot of the objections come from is the councillors actually come in and say,
fix this.
We don't like this, and then they make a big noise about it in the local Facebook group. Then everybody gets on the board, and then the objections come. But this was already a HMO, so if you have the opportunity to have a HMO or even have a 6-bed HMO, and then apply for planning to up the numbers to sui generis, you have to put planning in. From what our experience is that it's much more friendly to do that because you're only adding occupants, you're not changing the use. Well, you are changing the use, you're going to sui generis, but you're not changing the actual fundamental use. What do you want to do? I've noticed a couple of people raise questions. Did you want to ask me the questions, Guillaume?
Yeah, we can. Let's go through the deal.
Carry on.
And then after.
So obviously that's a big one. That's a big one. So I thought that's planning. So I thought I'd do two. I'd do a 6-bed and a 5-bed, and with different stories and reasons that we're highlighting this. Looks like it's about to fall down, right? This property. So what I wanted to do is the price and status history, because this agent on the day we bought it changed the price and the status on the day we bought it.
Right.
So as if to say, I don't know whether he got commission based on selling property at the asking price, but he changed it the day we bought it. So what you can see there is 210,000 was the original asking price. So we've paid 170. So it's 40,000 less than the original asking price for this property. And the reason we were able to do that is just because we did a full scope of works for the property and we sent it to the agent who sent it to the landlord. The property had been on the market for a period of time at that point, and they were looking for a quicker sale than normal because they just weren't getting the level of interest at 210. So we to be honest, we laboured it a little bit to say probably, we didn't actually do some of the things we said might be. We used a lot of might needs, like it might need a full new roof. It didn't. It needed patching. So but ultimately we got a £40,000 discount on the purchase, and the seller was really happy with that because they'd already spent the money in their mind, right? So, and we could complete quickly on this because it was SaaS funded, which meant that we didn't have to go through all of the bridging and development side of things. Yeah. So yeah, this was a really good deal. This is actually for us. So one of our joint venture partners funded this through their SaaS. So it's a 50-50 deal. So 451 GDV is. This is done. This is tenanted, and I have some. See what it looks like now.
No, it's quite different.
Photos for you. So yeah, so that's the backside that you could see on the previous. That lean-to there is just to this part here. So we rebuilt all of this shed. This shed was it still looks crooked, so don't but we used the lintels that were there. And we've obviously done a bit of facade work and all new windows and that kind of stuff, and it looks lovely inside. There's a pending Article 4 area as well, so it goes Article 4 on the 18th of November. So even though we've got a non-Article 4 PD development that's been valued at basically it's around 11.8% or something yield. Next valuation it's going to be much more much more sought after as a location because you won't be able to do them anymore. And then the final one I thought I'd do is our man in Oman, wherever he is, for Manyando. So this one. So looks a bit grubby on the outside. So this was a 5-bed HMO. Now I've used this because I still talk to people and they have a lot of limiting beliefs. And those limiting beliefs are, I always say to somebody, don't talk to people who say they know somebody that has. Talk to people that have. So if you want to understand, can I get a 5-bed all ensuite HMO on a hybrid mortgage valuation? Ask somebody who has got 5-bed HMOs all ensuite. Don't ask somebody who maybe have a social HMO or whatever, because that's one of the key things. Again, great agent relationship. 347 is the agreed GDV we're targeting, and the net cash flow, voids and maintenance dependent, is in a 23 to 35% ROI. But obviously the numbers are good here. But
really good.
The reason I wanted to share this, and I hope Maniano doesn't mind me sharing this. He's in Oman. He's not a British citizen. He's never done HMO. He's got no landlord experience. He got it delivered from the Middle East with a 5-bed ensuite. So, so the things that we did on this one were to challenge the lenders first before we even set foot. So if you're looking to make money from sourcing, which is the one of the areas that we do make money, if you're looking to make the money from that and you have a client, the reason I mention this is because we want to make sure that that you have done the due diligence for the client first. There's lots and lots of companies who will try and sell you a HMO and don't care about your personal profile. So what you want to try and do before you do anything else is get that person looked at. And we actually had a couple of strategies here on this particular project. So bridging wasn't a problem because it was fully bridge and development finance. Bridging and development finance wasn't a problem. Mortgaging was a problem. The exit was a problem because of those things. That's what we assumed was going to be the problem. But we actually found two really good lenders that were happy to commit at the start of the project, who were happy for our client to sit on the bridge for a little bit longer. So rather than 12 months, 18 months, and have that 6 months tenanted process during the bridge as is evidence of landlord experience. And then, so that was the original plan. I'm sure he doesn't mind me sharing. But before we even completed the purchase on the property, we found lenders that said, you know what, we're just happy with it. It's a good deal. So we're not bothered about having to jump through those hoops. We're happy with the client's credit profile and that kind of thing. So we're happy to do it. And at that time,
sorry, go on, Phil. Here, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was going to bridge into something I wanted to talk to you about, and open people's mind on this, because when I went to visit you last year, and you showed me some of the projects and things like that you found on Property Filter and so on. You Something that struck me is, you could say you're a sourcer, but really you make three times, you make three fees by
Yes.
sourcing a property. So I think that needs to open up people's mind on this, and also you have the the expertise to do some of this stuff. But
Uh-huh.
can you explain a little bit, and how did this play in the favor of your client here? Because then the lenders are the confidence because it's
That's the
project
one.
managed, because it's let,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure you again won't mind me sharing that it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have
Yeah.
the power team. It would have been too onerous for a client. But the lenders that we are working with here have worked with our team before. So they're happy with that. You're leveraging that experience. So when you buy the property, you're leveraging before you purchase something, if it's your first deal, if you're using bridging and development finance, they want to see the deal, they want to see the team, they want to know the builder is, they want to know what the insurance profile is of the builder. Do they have all risks insurance? They want to know the experience of the team. So we've obviously got a big assets and liabilities list for ourselves, but also a list of completed projects for our clients. So when I say this business has been going for 2 years or whatever, don't forget we did our own stuff before that.
Mhm, mhm.
So and pre-property filter when it was hard to find good deals. Now it's not the problem in our business.
So yeah, so how many deals would you do a year, typically before?
Well, we weren't just for ourselves.
Yeah, as in
Or
what was the
three.
business doing? 3 year and now.
Yeah. But that's on joint. That's just our properties.
Right.
That's not anything close to what we're talking about here. We wouldn't be able to do this business without something like Property Filter or
Yeah.
hiring really expensive people to run the front end, and that would make it very uneconomical for our clients.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Um,
that's interesting. So, and then I think what is really interesting, and what I'd like to help people open their mind to, is people identify as a sourcer, or they identify as an investor. But really, what you've done here is you're a property guy, and
yeah.
you just fill your pipeline with deals all the time, and you
Hmm.
you monetize it, and then you create this opportunity where more more activity, being more active on the market, brings you more opportunity, and it just compounds in a really cool way.
Yeah.
And then sources things, they'll make 3K for sourcing a buy to let to some overseas investors and things like that. You source HMOs, which come as a premium. You do the project management of the refurb, which is quite
Yep.
heavy, and I know you have the expertise between
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
Tim. And then you do the lettings on the other side. So you get those
Yeah.
free from the
Three
one
income
deal. You
streams.
get
That's right.
you
Yeah.
get you get
So
free
we get
income
we get
stream.
we get paid when we do the deal. We get paid when we do the project, and we get paid when we let the property. So yeah, there's three deals.
But you identify yourself as a more of a all in all as an investor. You're not some sourcing dude, right? So you're more of.
No, sourcing is the common term, right? So if we were to call ourselves anything, it'd be a developer that did site acquisition.
Yeah.
So we're not and the way I would differentiate it is because we're not selling our deals to the open market. You cannot buy one of our deals on the open market. We don't advertise them. We have an exclusive list of clients, and they're already signed up to us. So when we are going into to view our properties, our sourcing team know exactly what we're looking for each client, and that is the assign. So we have assignments for those clients. So I'm not finding a property and selling it to the open market. And this is really where my experience comes in, because the recruitment space is similar to that. You have two types of recruiter realistically. You have one which is like a headhunter that works on a retained basis where the client gives them a spec, they get paid up front, and they go to market. Or you have the contingent recruiter, which is they find a CV and they send it to as many clients as they can.
Mm,
One of those has a high hit rate and one of those has a low
yeah.
hit rate, and I'll let you come up with which one's which.
Yeah. Yeah.
So ours is a per assignment program, and we started like that. We had knowing we wouldn't do it any other way. Because there's certain points where you have to be certain. You have to be certain when you do the deal. There's no point doing a deal and then trying to sell that deal.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes too long. You have to have a client ready to buy.
Yeah.
And that client has to have a know, like, and trust with you. So you have to have a bit of a profile. You have to have some experience. And we spend our hardest part is onboarding the client. That's the hardest part of our business. And then when they're onboarded, it's because we know
Yeah.
what we're looking for. It's much easier.
And also you can focus on invest yourself in creating these relationships because
Yeah.
the deal finding is automated, So
Yeah.
how would you say sort of Property Filter helped you, with identifying these free deals? What sort of features you use the most? What are the, where do you see the most of the benefits? Yeah.
So, so if we go the deal one, which was the big one, was obviously it was in our follow-up folder. So, in within Property Filter,
Yeah.
and which we review all the time. It's our biggest. If you go onto, well, I'll show you at the end. I'll show you in a couple of minutes. If you go into our Property Filter, you see that our biggest place that properties sit is in our follow-up folder,
Yeah.
and we review that on a daily basis, just for any changes, and we look for changes in follow-up. Because if it's in follow-up, we've already viewed it, we've made an offer on it, and it hasn't worked out for some reason. So the first big one was in that folder. The second one was also something we had viewed originally when it came on at 210, because we were thinking we might, if we got it for about 190, actually the deal would work. But we were actually pipped at the post even then. It'd been the offer that they got on that property was around 200. It was advertised at 210 originally. But when it comes back to market, then it's about speed. So with speed, we're there the same day again. Because property's slow, but when it needs to be fast, you need to be fast. That's the thing, is because if you're in Manchester and you're not fast, I'm telling you now, I am fast. So if you want to compete with me, that's what you have to be. And it's the same anywhere. Is it? If it's certain times in the deal flow where you have to move really quickly. And if it's a good deal, that's the time. Drop everything else. Admin or whatever it is you're doing, or a viewing that you're not sure on, or whatever. You drop that one, you go and do this one, right? Because you already know. So you met them straight away. And the deal was done again. I think that one took a couple of days actually. I don't think that was done the same day. I think that was a couple of days, but we went to see it the same day, and we put our offer forward at the right price for us at the time, and we did the full scope of work. So that's what took the couple of days, because he just didn't believe what we were saying. So we gave him a breakdown on prices that we would have to pay to bring it up to speed, basically. And obviously we were only talking about bringing it back to life. We weren't talking about converting to HMO. We were just saying, right, this wall needs to be rebuilt, and we were only talking about bringing the property back to life. And then this one was just good. It was, they needed speed and certainty, and there was some cracks in the render. Upstairs had a leak, so it was non-mortgageable, in my opinion, because of those things. So that's a really good thing to look for. If it's not too challenging to fix, but it's not, and you think it's non-mortgageable, if you're not going to be using a traditional mortgage product, then you put that forward. So the agent actually agreed with our opinion that it was non-mortgageable on this particular one. So then that's when we were able to negotiate the price. Because
Awesome.
all the other people were mortgage people, because it's in a nice resi area that people want to live in. It was just going to be a family home, so they didn't have anybody else. It was probably priced a bit too high. That's why they didn't have any of the investors looking at it. But don't look at that price, is what I'll say to you.
Yeah.
If it's in a state, that's what you're looking for, right? Because if you're doing HMOs, you're gonna rip it all out.
So you said about finding this back and reduce box, where the sales run through, came back on the market. This is really where you wanna act and engage with the vendors, with the agent.
Yeah.
And then it's in the follow up. So as you prioritize and you work on all these good leads, then they might not accept your price. But then in the follow up, you go and how often do you reconnect? Do you speak with them every week, every 2 weeks? Is it something that
so we've got it.
does?
We have it. No, so we have a so obviously on your follow up, it's a number. It shows you a number of days as well.
Yeah.
So in our follow up, we put the time, and I think it's every 4 weeks.
Every 4 weeks,
Yeah, because property doesn't move quickly, right? So we proactively check in every 4 weeks.
Okay.
You'd actually have to ask Nick, which is bad, isn't it? I don't even know the answer to the question. So,
yeah.
But she is great, to be fair. She is super, and the agents much prefer talking to her than talking to me. So,
and is it mainly been through agents? Mainly be through agent the deals you've done, or
95% of the market is on the market, and I get this off the market. People say off market deals, and the agent brings me and says, "Oh, this deal's off market," and then I check Rightmove and it's on market. So it's like, can somebody actually tell me what off market is? I don't know what it is. So what is it? It's a property that's being sold.
Right, right.
that's not advertised. I don't know what the definition is,
Yeah,
but
there's a bit of a myth. People think that they'll have better deals because it's got this
yeah.
off-market stamp, and I think it's
But
very
that
much this unsexy truth, this contrarian truth. When we build
yeah,
property filter, it's like, look, this is what works. It's what gives you the best ROI on your
yeah.
time and money, really. So just execute, and then people still have to try to do this on-market thing, make this
Yeah,
myth
it's a
work.
sexy term, isn't it? But our process includes direct to vendor lettering. So when everything in our follow up folder we've written to.
So you've identified that they are motivated so that they deserve their space on your pipeline. But
Yeah.
then as you follow up with the agents, you also send letters to
Yeah. So we will
the owner.
send a direct to vendor letter to the vendor. So we did a deal 2 weeks ago in Failsworth in Manchester. And that deal is for a client. And we originally went to see it through the local agent. And it had some problems. It was, in my opinion, it wasn't standard mortgageable in the current market. It wasn't a standard mortgage condition. So I just wrote to the vendor and I said, listen, I don't know whether or not our offer was also put forwards because you've obviously got an offer higher than ours, which is, and I totally understand why you've accepted that. So I just wanted to present that our offer was at this level. And the reason that we offered that is because we believe this can't be mortgaged at this moment in time because these things need fixing, and therefore the cost to do those fixes is this, and therefore our offer was this. And we got a call back 5 weeks after. I think it was 5 weeks after that letter saying, yeah, they've had to pull out because their surveyor's been around and
Yeah, can't get a
they
mortgage.
can't get a mortgage on it and that kind of stuff. So they rang us and then said, "Do you want to speak to the agent?" I said, "Not really."
Yeah, yeah.
But I did, and obviously we do because we want to keep the agents on side, and the agents know we do this. Most of our good agents know that we do this because we tell them. We say, "Look, I'm going to write a letter just in case it falls out."
And then do you make
Um,
good with the agent after? You play the
oh
long
yeah,
game?
yeah, totally, yeah. And they just want to sell the property at that point because if they've done something, they've made an offer and not treated us in the right way, or
Yeah.
they've told or they've encouraged the vendor to go down one route when realistically it was another. And you need to understand that agents are people, right? So they're not property people; they are property sales people. So they're trying to
Mhm.
sell for the best price, and
Mhm.
they will not listen to you unless they're very experienced. So if you're dealing with somebody who's younger, who's new to the agency game, who's
Yeah.
in the first couple of years experience, they may have never sold a property requirement development. So they may not have that experience. So putting it in writing is a good way to say, look, this might happen. That particular one was a bit naughty because they hadn't even put our offer forwards, and it was their friend that was buying it. So they'd got an on market discount. So they had acted a bit naughty. So we were there was a wry smile when we got the call back to say, yeah, this one's fell out. But at the
Tit
same
for tat.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the agent was fine about it. I'm a sales guy, so I just had a laugh with them to say, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
win one, lose one, and that's it. But you're still getting your fee, so all's good in the
Yeah, you
end,
make it good with them because
Yeah, yeah,
then they want to work with you long term
yeah.
because
And now they've got certainty of sale as well because they know we're going to complete on it, so they can put
yeah,
that one
cool.
in the should have done something better the first time round box, and we all learn from our mistakes, right?
Right. Awesome. Thanks a lot for sharing these. I've got
Sure.
some more slides or things you want to share.
I've got two, which is one is just to
Yeah.
reiterate, if anybody wants to work with us in any capacity, these are the things that you can do. I don't know whether I can put that link tree in the box actually, if you want to get in touch with us.
Yeah, if I get someone in the team to take a screenshot and see if they can type it in the chat. I'm
Yeah.
curious, like people, so I think this helps, sort of inspiring people and say, okay, this is possible. The deals are there. Actually, ignore the asking price and all that.
Mhm.
Do you mind if so I don't want to go into your property filter workspace, but do you mind if I share my screen and you sort of guide me through like the steps you would do to go and set it up, how would you,
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've got some snips on the next slide as well with
yeah, yeah.
my from my workspace, so I didn't actually have that much of an issue with sharing my workspace.
Okay.
It's
Did you have another slide you said you wanted to,
yeah, it was the top tips, but we can do that at the end.
yeah,
No
okay,
worries, we
cool.
can do that at the end. Yeah.
So you go in there, lead
Uh-huh.
generator,
Yeah.
you want to set up something from scratch? Where are we going?
Yeah. Does anybody want to pick an area that they
Yeah, go on, yeah.
doesn't have to be us. Somebody first wants to type an area, as long as it's not like a village in the back end of nowhere.
We are going quite fast. So we go in there. So do we say
Let's do like a main town or city, if
you
that's
want to
good.
do Lincoln or something? Or?
Yeah, I don't know where that is, but yeah, I know it's a town. I know it's in the UK.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
exactly where it is.
Okay.
Is there
Go
an
around.
article? Is there an Article 4 zone?
We will know in the next release. I think there is.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So just click. That's it. Yeah. Just click a
Yeah.
few things. Average property prices are on Lincoln for single bet, two up, two down.
Not too sure. We can do something and
we
filter
can tweak anyway. So you can either choose to build your own template, which is what we do.
Yeah.
Or you can choose one of the templates that's already there, which is really, really good. So I'm going to do my 5 and 6 PD search, if that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not going to put bedrooms.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to go to advanced filters.
Do you put any maximum price or not?
Yeah, so if you put minimum price, I don't know what the prices are in the area, but let's say it's not going to be cheaper than what, 160, I would have thought. Maximum price 230.
Okay.
And we can narrow it down from there, probably.
Okay, let's get rid of these.
Okay.
Include auctions, yeah.
Yeah, advanced filters. Let's go property information.
There we go.
Okay, so minimum surface area 100 square meters.
Yeah.
Maximum surface area 126 square meters.
Oh wow, that's quite specific. Why would you you showed me the 6-bed which was like 196. Why would you put a maximum?
Yeah, well, so it's square meters though, right? So why would I put a maximum? So I have different categories.
Okay, so you'll have another one.
Yeah, so what I want to do is I don't want to spend any time looking at properties that might sit outside that category, right? So if I don't do something to limit the size here or limit the value or limit the value, I'm going to be looking at properties which are maybe too nice or too small or that type of thing. So if I'm going to go, let's say my average 5 and 6 bed property was, my average purchases are within 150 and 190,000. I'll go 15% above that for 5 and 6 beds. Okay. So I'll go 15% above that from a price perspective, and then I will limit it to 100 and 126. Over 126,
you have another one.
I have 127 to 145.
Okay.
That's a 13 meters plus 20% for communal. So I do that next size and I do a new price bracket.
Okay.
Because I want to look for properties that need work.
Yeah. So you know it works for this strategy, this type of deal, that style, and then you put your template over it.
Yeah. So just let's go.
That's it.
Yeah. We'll keep it simple for now, and then we can we can have a play, can't we? Test.
Do you go outside Article 4 area or stuff like that?
Yes, outside Article 4.
Yeah. So I can go back and edit again through here, and then I might go planning constraints, and we want to be outside. Let's see the change. Should be. There we go. Yeah. So all of these now sit outside. Okay.
Okay. So now across the top, does anybody use the star system?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 5-star is your back and reduce. So if we just do back and reduce, that's the box that we're currently on.
Yeah.
I mean, so what we're looking for is 100 plus square meters. So some of them don't have the meterage on. So if you have a look at the 5th, that's quite a new build, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite recent.
All right, let's go by lowest value. That's good.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Do you know why the sizes aren't there? Have you changed something in the leads
generator? No,
when you went back in it?
The nature of stuff. Sometimes we have, sometimes we don't. We have in the majority, but then when you start to have lots of.
So what we need to do is click don't include unknown number of beds.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah. Don't include. Yeah, don't. Yeah. That's fine. Don't include it. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Shall we put the price down a bit?
No, leave it. Yeah.
I want to try.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Lincoln's quite a nice area, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nicer than I thought.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got 17 available in total.
Yeah.
Some of them might be priced well. You've got 11 reduced. So if we go to reduced as well, So that one on the left side,
Yep.
160,000, several agents found, and it's at auction, and it's been reduced. I imagine due to auction.
1, 2, 3, fourth agent involved.
Yeah. So that listing probably isn't true because there's been a number of different listings, etc., etc. But that's
Well,
kind of the profile that you're looking for. And can I just have a look at that side picture? That side picture.
there's a few interesting pictures, right?
Yeah.
That's what you
So
are.
let's just stay there for a second. So this looks like a HMO build about 3 weeks in, right?
While still living in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
It's a
ripping
bit
everything
weird.
out. Everything's coming off the wall. So sometimes I see things like, oh, well, I might be able to save a bit of money if I keep some plastered walls. And the problem is when you're doing building control, and you're putting in services and you're doing something like change of use from a C3 to a C4 or even up to sui generis, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do acoustic boarding, you're going to have to do drop ceilings to put your services in for water and electrical, etc. So none of those walls, apart from maybe the party wall, which you might be removing for chimney purposes, are staying.
Yeah.
So this type of property would put a lot of people off, simply because it looks like that. It's got a poor extension lean-to thing at the back as well. So, but it does have a full single story extension where the kitchen's going to be. So that says to me you're going to be able to get three beds on the maybe on the top floor and maybe 2 to 3 on the bottom floor. So that might work for a 5. So then it's a case of how do you work out the yield for the area? So our area is anywhere between 11.5 and 12.5% yield. So we use 12 as an average to work out our valuations if we're doing commercial. If it's a strong bricks and mortar area, you might want to go for bricks and mortar, depending on the works that you've done on the
Yeah, I mean that's quite interesting. 4 agents
started at 185.
And there's history of it going as low as 132. So they
on the market as well. Yeah,
they were talking about 132 at some point.
Yeah.
So having it now.
So I'd be doing 2 things here. I'd be telling the agent I'd like to make a pre-auction offer, and I'd be writing to the vendor.
Yeah. We've got the full address over here, owner occupier. So
Have a look at the location. Just scroll out on the map a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that looks like a good spot. How far is that train station? Main road into Lincoln.
Yeah, 2 miles.
Yeah,
it's a bit far from anything, but
yeah. See, do they have a tram line then? Because it says it's 7 miles from the train. I
think the train is passing by, but it's not stopping.
Oh, there's no station.
Wherever, yeah.
Yeah, maybe location wise. But it does look close to town centre. So, and so we have around Greater Manchester. So
can you imagine there is this land over here? I mean, that's quite interesting. Huh?
Yeah, who owns that? Do we know? So when you look at a property like this, so you've got to have a look at what is the purpose of the property. So we have some areas in Manchester, is the M60 ring road. So if we're not close to a train or tram, then we're close to the ring road. And if we're close to the ring road, we're looking for plenty of parking opportunities, because you have 2 types of commuter. You have the driving commute and you have the transport commute. So that's one of the two things that we look at. So I think the first deal we did is actually driving commutes. So you got 2 motorways that combine really, really close by, within property filter. But and then about 50% are close to trains and trams, 50% close to the motorway. So, but if it's close to the motorway, I would always recommend you have enough space around you for cars.
It's awesome. So from there, you'll set filters in a way where you don't see a million deals. I think I didn't save the list.
Yeah, I think my average. Yeah, so that's too many.
I didn't save the change we made earlier. But yeah.
Yes, that's too many.
And then what did we say? We went into property information and we did this.
Yeah, we unknown, yeah.
And then we saved. So you were saying you don't want to see you don't want to be looking at too many properties, but you really want to be going inch wide, mile deep into the good ones.
So on average, our new deal thing chucks out 3 to 4 each pipe one chucks out 3 to 4 a week maximum, as an example.
How many do you have? How many lead generators do you use?
Hmm.
I mean,
The maximum number.
okay, so you got 20 that are really tight, and
Yeah,
you look at 20 times, all together, you don't look at more than 60 properties a week, but it's very
yeah,
tight.
yeah.
Okay. And then from here, so let's say you like
So
this one.
back and reduced is obviously the main one, right? So
Yep,
if you
yep.
back and reduced, I also like these ones. Third one in. Why is there no outside photo?
Yeah, yeah.
You know how many people will skip past that? That's poor advertising by the agent. So it's fell out.
Yeah.
Probably open to a deal. It's 125 meters, so it's borderline a 6 bed.
And it's yeah.
So you could probably get 6 rooms in that. And the reason it's so vast, it's our biggest one. So is from 100 to 126. We actually do 100 to 115, and then we have 116 to 126. We actually have separately generous for 5 beds and for 6 beds. And then we do have another one which is unknown service area, but the number of bedrooms.
So did you see? So this failed to sell with one agent at 260, then 240, and then
Yeah.
back with another agent, sold within a few days, and then just came back on the market just last
Yeah.
month.
Yeah,
These guys were
they've been through the mill, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, 260 to 225.
Yeah.
If it's just one step away from the.
Yeah, I mean, let's say this was ours. If I could get that for around the 200 mark, and
Yeah, yeah.
it was 6 ensuite rooms, and
You
then
can
I was
you can
able to
make
get £700 a room for a decent ensuite finish. I'm looking at probably in the 400s from a GDV valuation at 11.5 to 12%.
and you send this then you send the ones you like, you send them to your pipeline, you
That's it.
work through these, and
Yeah,
then
so
you just
initially from the leads generator, we're just putting them into the due diligence pipeline. So the only way I manage the team from a sourcing perspective is I don't allow properties to be in the leads generator and or the due diligence folder.
yeah.
So the
Awesome.
objective is to clear that out.
Yeah, you clear your inbox over here so that you only see the new stuff, and this is how Nick is spending just a few minutes on it every day.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like we've talked about these on these calls before. Like there's a
Yeah.
blueprint, and here's a guy who follows the blueprint. So well done.
Yeah. So if I just share my top tips page
Yeah,
then, and then we can talk, because I can talk through those.
use property filter properly. So tell us what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so it's not that complex. So I've just put like I said before, is you can see my HMO 5 bed potential box at the bottom. That's live. I just cut and paste that just before here. So there's one available and it's in the reduced box. If you sat there and you've got leads in your leads generator and there's back and reduced is full of, it's got 20, 30 leads in there, then you're not using property filter property because properly you just basically, and you using it as a better right move or a better Zoopla.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the objective, if you're going to use something, if you're going to do a sales flow, is start but then move things along. And the more you move along, what will happen is the luckier you will be, right? So it's a bit like if it's in my due diligence, if it's in my if it's in my leads generator, it doesn't go to due diligence. It's because it's not right. So I've glanced it, and then if it goes to due diligence, you can see there's 16 in there right now, because we have 16 properties being reviewed. But we have, of that, there are maybe, to be fair, it's probably not right because I've got 6 for a personal search as well because I might be moving home next year. So
Nice.
the 6, yeah, so the 6 of them. So it might be 10 that are actually ones that are still to be do due diligence. I can't even say it, mate. Do due diligence.
I know it's quite hard,
Right,
isn't it?
3Ds, yeah. And then they move them across to organize a viewing. So even though my HMO 5 bed potential, my HMO 6 bed potential, my HMO 7 bed potential, and these are duplicated as well. So I've got HMO 5 bed potential done on size, and I've got HMO 5 bed potential done on number of beds and price.
Interesting.
So I've got 2 for the same thing. So I'm moving things along. So you can see in my follow-up, that's by far my biggest folder, other than the closest one to it is offers is deals done, basically. Because that's the one. Well, that's where we're trying to get to. Is trying to get to those things through that mix. So we've got up to 16 viewings now that we need to arrange. from the last sort of like 7 to 10 days. But all of those in there do due diligence and organize viewings. There's 32 in there, but there's none in my leads generator.
Yeah,
So
you take a decision.
we've done the work.
Yeah, you take a decision every lead, because the alternative is what your competition is doing right now. They're scrolling through pages and pages of properties we've already seen yesterday. When they go back on like Rightmove and a lot, they scroll through more and more of them properties. And then you're having to decide again and again, take the same decision on the same property. Oh, I've seen this before, I didn't like it, and seen this before, I'm already working on it. And when you see something, it's either you like it or you don't. So the idea is exactly as you describe it, is you move it along. So
yeah. And if you think that in that follow-up, that 34 follow-ups, there's about 5 that we haven't offered on, but apart from that, the rest have got offers outstanding. So there's 29 in there with current pending offers that we've offered on, have been pipped to the post for whatever reason. And when I went a quick look before at the offers made, so the way that it works, our process then works, is we take the blueprint and we use it in a real life situation. So when we attend a viewing, if the property isn't going to work for any reason for what we're looking at it for, because we don't, we're only doing one thing, we just get rid of that property at that point. So so we've probably done the double the amount of viewings that we have to offers, but the number of deal appraisals and stacked deal appraisals, we saved them all. So we have 101 since the day we've made 101 offers for 30 deals. That's how many offers we've made.
That's pretty good conversions,
Yeah, so a third. And, hardly any of them are day one offers that have been accepted. They've all been part of a negotiation.
In the follow-ups.
Yeah, and the next one down is like, do what you're good at and outsource everything else. So I'm not good at administration. I said that right at the start. So Property Filter takes away almost all of my admin with respect to sourcing, and that bottom box, that sourcing pipeline. I know a couple of people who have Property Filter, and they log in, and it's all over the place. Their sourcing pipeline, they're not using it effectively. They're not adding off mark anything that's not found that they've been referred to or whatever. They're not adding those, and they're not moving things along from due diligence to organize a viewing. It's a click of a button. You really need to know where you're up to day in, day out to use Property Filter properly. And when I say do what you're good at and do anything else, I'm just, I'm pretty good at doing deals, and I'm good at managing the agency. So we have the middle part of our business, which is the project side. Tim's a project manager by trade. So he set that part of our business up. I don't hardly touch that part of the business. So, but I have to know the high level numbers of how much things work to be able to do with the deal appraisals. So, you have to have both of those skill sets really to do it. So if you're good at doing sales, and you're good at doing deals, and that's what you want to do, and that's where you want to focus your time, which I'm assuming most people on Property Filter do want to do that because it's fun. Then you need to have a good team behind you. So you need to be building in the costs for those 2 appraisals. So if you do get to a position where you're lucky enough to do a couple of deals, think about getting somebody to do doing the first Property Filter search. So if the lead generator is set up and we give a template to our, we have a template system for what works and what doesn't work. And even to the point where if you're attending it, we've even got a viewing consultant now who goes out and does that for us. So we don't even have to attend the viewing. We can just deal with the agents and do the deals, if you like. So when you get to that position, don't be afraid to outsource the things, just to really systemize it.
And the way you afford all these things is because you do more deals, So people think,
we can do more product lines as well. Because we're only doing HMOs, so we have other product lines that we can offer. Like there's quite a few people that want bunches of single lets and so on and so forth. See if I can't take some market share off Shiv. And I put, don't worry about the 5%, right? So Property Filter is here to cut down the noise, and yet I see a number of people that use Property Filter, and then they say, oh, but somebody might list something like this, and it's a unicorn, so they might say, something in their advert, or they might not put this on, or they might not put that on. And therefore I might miss that deal if I don't widen my search. Well, how many deals are you needing to do? Because we need to do 2 a month. So don't worry about the 5% of things that don't appear in your searches. Really tighten down on what you want to do and focus on the 95% of the things that do work. Because there's always going to be something that's been advertised incorrectly, or it's been messed up by the agent. I mean, you see them on Property Filter sometimes saying they're over 1,000 meters. It's a 2 up, 2 down, or whatever. You get you're just going to lose out on that one opportunity. But if you spend, you will spend 80% of your time on the 5% of things that are on there wrong, rather than the 95% of the things that are on there right, that suit your business and suit your profile, whether it's HMOs or whether it's single lets or whether it's personal home or whatever it is you're trying to search. And then have absolute clarity is the next point, right? So and by that is, what I mean by that is, choices are actually bad. And the examples I'm going to give, right? So anyone been to how long does it take you to choose a meal at a restaurant if the menu is massive?
Yeah, I just want 2 choices, 3 choices.
Yeah. And then you walk into the posher restaurants, they've got 3 choices at starter, 3 choices main, 3 choices at. And then how many people have got Netflix, and who flicks through Netflix? Who spends more time choosing a program than watching a program? Because I'm guilty of that. You know, I go onto Netflix and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm on Netflix. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. I've not set it up properly. I haven't chosen the kind of category that maybe I want to watch, and I'm just scrolling and scrolling. Then I might go to Prime and then to Disney, and you know, all of us, you know, I haven't found anything to watch. Even it's too much information. So Property Filter's there to really niche down. So there's lots of people who teach, oh, just do property deals, and I'm like, well, you can look at all the property strategies and all the property deals, but if you're looking to do one deal, just find that deal and then do that deal and then look for your next one. Don't worry about, oh, but I might be able to do a purchase lease option, or I might be able to do an exchange of deed completion, right? All you can do in property is 4 walls and a roof. So if you're going to do a block of flats, you need to find something that you can build a block of flats. If you're going to do HMO, you need to find something that builds into HMO. How you do the contract strategy and stuff like that is secondary to that. So my advice is always just do that one thing really, really, really well, and have clarity before you set up your lead generator as to how you want to get that to work. No is the best answer you can get. If you get a yes straight off your offer, you've offered too much. It's that simple. If you've offered, if you want to get to a position which is a win-win for everybody, and if you make an offer and they say immediately yes, then you know you have offered too much. They would have taken lower. So and everyone goes for the big noughts. So if it ends in 0s or it ends in 5s, and you only make money on purchase. So this is the most important part of your entire deal flow. You can't cut down your build costs. You can't cut corners in your build process. You're probably not going to be able to stretch those rents that you thought you could stretch. So make money on the deal. This is what Property Filter is the best use of your time to do, and negotiate properly. So the last deal we did on Property Filter was 271,400. So there's no rounding there. And we offered 270, and they wanted 280, and we agreed 271,400. So who would have gone immediately by nature and through no fault of your own to 275? Who would have settled at 275? You know, that is the normal thing that people do. But that pays for my solicitors and my architects and my planner. So, you know, those things are real. And if you put those contexts in there, then negotiate properly. 271,400, and we've just done the deal, and it's an absolute belter. So, you know, don't just jump through the gates. I went from 270 to 27500, and then 27500 to 271, and then 271 to 27. And then I get to a position where I've gone up a couple of times, and I pick a random number. This is a great tip. Pick a random number, because it then makes it look like you've done the maths. I could have gone more than that, no problem, but I didn't want to. So you pick a random number and it makes it look like that you've done the maths. So you say, right, that's my offer. You can see I've given it a real thought, because it's, you know, we've got some weird ones of like 271,450 as an example. And that's it, you know, that's squeezing the life out of it. And that makes it look like you've given a little bit to the seller, because the sellers love to negotiate as well. But you've done the right deal for you at the right price. So that's how the top tips.
Really, really helpful. Really appreciate you taking the time and preparing this. So what's the future like, you know, like for, you know, PPB, and how does Property Filter sort of sit in that?
Well, please don't close, number one, because that's going to really affect how we do things. So if everyone else can just keep paying their membership fees, that'd be amazing. But no, I mean, it's integral, right? So it's an integral part of our business. It really is the first stage in everything that we do. And so the future is more service lines. We're going to, now we have our entire business is now systemized. So I don't do the sourcing anymore. I won't be doing the viewings. I will still be controlling the offer process and making sure that the deals work. It means that I can spend more time on the business. So now we can operate in a different manner. So now so when we come into our cave time season for the property entrepreneur fans, we're going to be looking at the next service line, which is probably going to be packages of single let deals on a BRRR basis. So still doing exactly what we do, which is source, build, and manage. And then we're going to probably have a separate brand to the multi-let brand for single let brands to expand that agency. And then there's a third thing to that is obviously we're doing the podcast, and that's going to create content, and then there'll be a coaching thing, a Kajabi based coaching thing that we'll end up doing, because people are always asking for, can you send me, because we do business coaching as well. So most of our mentors are people who are doing deals, so they want to learn how to do tenders, they want to learn how to find good builders, they want to learn how to do due diligence on builders and all that type of thing, which is all the systems that we have that we've built over 2 years. And Tim's got 18 years experience with that part, and then we've got all our sales systems and our letting systems that we've built. So it's a package of things that we'll probably put through into a Kajabi based thing that people can pick up and run with if they so wish.
Yeah, awesome. And it's really cool for Property Filter to be part of the journey there. Who would you sort of recommend Property Filter to? Like, who is that? Who is it for?
So Property Filter is for property people. And people who don't just want the mundane stuff, right? So it's for anybody who wants to make money on property. If you want to make money in property, you should be using Property Filter. I don't buy into the off-market stuff I've already mentioned, because what does that mean? 95% of all deals are on the market. Why am I looking at the 5% when the 95% is there right in front of me and Property Filter can cut through the mud? It doesn't make sense. It's a very small investment for a very large opportunity. And I know some people say, oh, don't use it properly and things like that. Well, just get better at it. Like it's just trial and error. You can get better. There's lots of coaching. There's lots of videos. There's people like me you can reach out to. There's lots of videos. If you buy Property Filter and you don't do any of the training, don't do any of the learning, then, well, it's not Property Filter's fault, ultimately. But in business, everything is your fault. I take responsibility for everything in my organization. Everything is your fault. If you don't find property deals, everything is your fault. And if you've got Property Filter and you're not going on viewings, then why did you get Property Filter? So it's for, it's for people who want to do property deals and make money from property. Whether or not that is, one of my friends, this is his strategy. I was on Mastermind with. He finds a great deal. He moves in. He's a single man. He's 50. He earns well. He moves in. He renovates it while he lives there, and he sells it. Doesn't pay any tax through capital gains. Gets massive uplifts. Makes 200 grand a year. So when I say he moves in theoretically. He has a nice caravan in a nice park somewhere that he goes during the summer months while the build program's happening. So there's loads of things you can do in property, but it wouldn't happen if you couldn't find the deals. It's about finding the deals, and it's Property Filter is for deal makers.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Thanks so much. Do we have time for questions? So Usha was asking, like, how do you train your assistant to do the research? So how did Nick?
I'll let her know you called her assistant.
I know. I think it wasn't made clear. That was at the start, right?
Yeah. No. So we have a blueprint. So we have a blueprint for everything. So everything in our business is systemized, every single little bit. So when she looks for property, she knows what she's looking for. So if it's a 5-bed, it has to have this much space. It has to have this kind of shape. We need to have this amount of room for when we can do the conversion. So we're looking at 13 square meters for a double ensuite. We need to have 19.5 square meters plus if it's a 6-bed to 10-bed, 11.5 square meters for a kitchen diner on a 5. So it's just about knowing your onions in terms of like how you do things. And the second episode on our podcast is about space, light, and rights. And I actually have on our YouTube channel now. The recordings aren't great because I didn't have my studio set up properly, but educational videos on space, light, and rights, which is the first thing to look at once you understand your strategy. Space, light, and rights. That's the 3 things that you need to understand. The Property Filter takes care of most of those things. So you just need to understand. So like a 5-bed HMO only needs 6 windows, as an example.
Yeah.
It's 1 for each livable space and the communal. So what is your rights? It's Article 4 or non-Article 4. Is it permitted development, or is it not permitted development? So those things are easy to apply. And then it's the space standards. So your local authority space standards do differ. So you need to be careful, but not by much. So you can just make enough space for what it is you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's very, it's very much it's doing less, but actually doing stuff that work.
Yeah.
So as you say, you've got maybe
Yeah.
stricter criteria. You see less things on your screen.
Yeah,
You
but we're
actually
learning all the
feel,
time as well. Our architect came with an absolute blinder at the moment, so our we learn we make mistakes, and I've turned down deals I now know would work, because he came up with a suggestion on a property that I could have applied to 10 other properties that I didn't even offer on because I didn't know, and you don't know what you don't know ultimately, but now I know. Yeah, I've adjusted my lead generator, so I've now my property size started at 100 meters. Now it starts at 93, and
okay.
there's a reason for that.
Nice little nugget there.
Hitwinder staircases. Go
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
it.
All right, okay. Nice. Nigel was asking about where you get the development finance. I think that's in relation with this deal where you had the bridging and development finance.
Yeah, so we have some direct relationships with some bridging lenders, but majority is brokerage. So our clients go through brokers.
Yeah.
We've got specialist brokers for specialist things. So if you can reach out to me and I can introduce you.
Yeah, awesome. Do you have like timelines for the three deals in terms of how long the projects took in terms of the refurb? Team is always on time, isn't it?
Yeah, we're a month ahead on this one. Manyando, when did you buy your property, mate?
You've got so many deals, you can't remember which one is which.
We completed in March.
You completed in March and we're tenanting it now.
Nice. That's pretty, for an HMO, that's pretty good going, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Let's not encourage as if I agree. Yeah. Gordon is saying buying a property more than 1 hour drive away, is that wise? Well, it's not more than 1 hour from you, Phil, is it?
No. Well, so where does your power team start and stop, right? So Manyando's in Oman. He's not just in the next room, he's in Oman. So if it depends. So most of our clients are not local. So about 66%, let's say 2/3, are either overseas or out of area. So we have some in London, but most of them are overseas. The head of Dubai Pin, as an example, Steve Cowgill, he's our client.
Yeah.
So there's lots of these people knocking about that, that just, it's no like and trust, right? So it's not in our wheelhouse to let people down. So it will be looked after really, really well. And ultimately, if it's a good property, well built and well managed, I don't think have you actually seen it, man? You've been in the property?
No.
No, you haven't.
Videos.
You've seen the videos. Okay.
Yeah. That's another level. That's perfect. Comments on GDV? Are you sure about the GDV you get, commercial valuation?
Obviously, we've done this several times. So, and it's one of the limiting beliefs, right? Which is, I can't get commercial mortgages. So, like, some people tell me it's still, they look at me in the eye and they say you can't get commercial mortgages and hybrid mortgages on 5-bed ensuite HMOs. They're telling me this, and I've literally got 6 back to back, and I'm like, well, okay, I just, it's just okay. But you don't know what you don't know. If you use the right brokers and the right lenders, and they're happy with the environment, so you have to be, there's certain things. So I wouldn't go to a village. The reason that the people like our area is it's a growing city, and the city is overspilling into the large towns, northern towns all around the M60. So as long as you're within that sort of camp, then the lenders are generally happy. So how we work it out is just through experience. So normally there's a commercial rate for your area. So if your commercial yields are at 8% or 7%, what I would recommend is you add about 3%. And I don't mean like add 3% to 7%. I mean 3 percentage points to that for your bills and your like energy costs, bill costs, mortgage, that kind of stuff that comes off. So generally speaking, the local area around northern Manchester belt is around a 9% commercial yield. If you're buying a commercial property, so if you're adding 3 percentage points, that is 12, and the majority of our refinances are around 11.5 to 12.5%.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of certainty when you develop HMOs. Is the easiest thing to value, especially when you understand the lettings, so you know what rent you can achieve.
Well, that's really important. Don't use a high street agent if you're doing HMOs.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're offering you 8% and a handshake. Whatever they're offering you isn't worth your time. If you're not using a specialist HMO, the number of people that come to us with HMOs that were renovated 2 years ago, and they've got tenants smoking things that supposed to help you relax, but then maybe don't help the landlord relax. It's got to be a well managed. It's not the same. A high street, you need a ideally a director-led specialist HMO manager if you're going to do the higher end. If you're not doing higher end, it's less of an issue. And if you're doing social, one of the things that we can do to help you is if you're looking at social leases, we have a partnership with a social lease provider that has 100 supported living providers. So we can introduce you there. If you have you have to have the property ready. You can't, or within 3 months.
I think that was awesome. I think some of the questions sort of repeat themselves a bit. Someone's asking, just one last question. So how do you find your investors, as in clients? Or do people apply, let's say, to working with you?
So if you want to work with us, just get in touch. If you want to be one of our clients, then just get in touch. We just to manage expectations, we're sold out until January, so we're not taking on any new client spaces until January. But having said that, you do have to actually sign up with us in advance, because by next month it'll probably be February, if that makes sense. We're a little bit ahead of time.
Join the waiting list.
Yeah, sadly, yeah. I wish there wasn't a waiting list. It'd be nice just to do everybody's deals straight away. But yeah, there is a bit of a waiting list. But do get in touch, because it'll come around real quick, and at least it's certain. We've got some, it's done. And how do I find my clients? Was that the question?
Yeah, that was the question.
How do I find my investors? So a lot of it's referral business. Quite high profile. So if you do follow me on Facebook, you're probably sick of seeing me. You might have even muted me, so as an example. So we do some quite a lot of social stuff. But a lot of it is referral business. So once you do a job once for a good client, and they will refer you to other people. I don't think you knew our other Omani client, did you, Manyando? Oh no, you were neighbours, but you didn't know him. And then it was just
no, not that much. No.
So we had two clients in Oman living around the corner from each other.
All right, interesting.
So we network a lot. Obviously, we run the network. So there's a pin event coming up in August, which is a national pin event. So if you're looking for people, that's how to do it. But ultimately, it's just putting the word out there. There's some really good groups you can advertise in for international people or investors that are looking to buy property. Have a product that you know about.
To be super clear, innit?
And to be so if they ask you a question, you know the answer, because that is where the trust comes from. I mean, I was sat with a client the other day who was asking me about planning as an example. So so if you want to be a real specialist in something, you have to be a real specialist. So I'm not a planning consultant, but I need to know a little about a lot. So that's my job. My job is to know a little about a lot, and then we have specialists to know a lot about a little. Right, so my job is to know a little about a lot. So I read the National Planning Policy Framework, and now they've bloody changed it. I'm gonna go and read it again. So that's, you have to do those things if you want to do something really special. If you want to do something that is up there, or have a business consultant, and do those types of things, because like some of our businesses come from referral by our non-executive, because he loves what we do and he knows other wealthy people. And it's asking the question, who do you know who would benefit from high cash flow property on a hands-off basis? And there, property isn't completely hands-off, but if all you're doing is signing deals and you don't even have to set foot in it, as per the example. I didn't set Manyando up, by the way. He's joined of his own accord. Yeah. How do I vet them? So we have a vetting service that we use for AML checks.
Awesome. Phil, thanks so much. Do you have any sort of a closing sentiment for today?
No, thanks for inviting me. I hope it's been useful for people.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to really just get out there and do it. I mean, you've got the team behind you because you've got Property Filter already. I mean, there's no, don't have any limiting beliefs. Don't say you can't do something. Just try. Just get out there and build properties, people, build relationships. I haven't, everything is people. It doesn't matter if you're doing sales, which is what doing deals is, regardless of whether you consider yourself a salesperson. Doing a deal with an agent is people to people. It's not, or doing a deal with a vendor, it's person to person. Follow up, use the systems, use the direct to vendor lettering system. If you get an offer turned down, write to them, be consistent, follow up. Just consistency is key. Consistency of messaging, consistency of what you're doing, become knowledgeable, and just just stick to your guns as well. Don't negotiate the wrong way because a deal might be offered to somebody. If it's somebody with a mortgage, a third of them fall out. So if you offer 3 offers that work for you, one of them's coming back. You know, so stick to that. Stick to your guns. Make the deal happen at the point of purchase, and then everything else works well after that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Phil, thanks so much. Thank you everyone for joining us on today's Deal Finder Corner. So in the meantime, like do take Phil's offer, get in touch, and if you anything you want to discuss with him, thanks a lot for inviting people and to have a chat and reaching out. That's always valuable. In the meantime, visit propertyfilter.co.uk, log on to your Property Filter account, have an endless supply of deals, join the top 1%, become a high achiever deal finder, do more deals in less time. I hope you enjoyed today's Deal Finder Corner like I did, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.